My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm 27 years old. I've been a housewife for 5 years, married to my husband of the same age, David. We don't have children yet, but we were living a fairly happy, ordinary life. However, one day, everything changed when I discovered David's affair.
Hey, who is this Emily? How long have you been cheating?
I saw a message pop up on his phone from a name I didn't recognize while he was away from his seat. The message was obviously from someone he was having an affair with. I couldn't stay silent in such a situation, so when David returned, I confronted him, waiting for what kind of excuse he would come up with. But what he said was something I never expected.
Yeah, I've been cheating.
So what?
Are you being serious right now?
It's not about being serious. It's the truth. What else did you want me to say? Did you think I'd beg for forgiveness with a bunch of excuses?
What?
David brazenly admitted to his affair and even started provoking me. You always act all high and mighty, questioning me. That's why I cheated. I hate that about you.
Excuse me?
You're always nagging. Do this, do that. Who would want to come home to a wife like that?
That's because you. See. You always blame me right away. I'm fed up with it. Unlike you, Emily cares about me first. And she's a nurse, you know. She earns well, and more importantly, she said she wants to live with my mom right after we get married. She said it's so she can take care of her if anything happens. Ah, how kind she is. She's 3 years younger than you and yet so mature. Totally different from you, who suggested not living with my mom when we got married. And even after we started living with her, you never got along with her. Do you think there's any reason for me and my mom to stay with you any longer? I never said I didn't want to live with your mother.
My mother-in-law had been living alone since her husband passed away early. David was worried about leaving her alone, so he suggested we live together. However, she was still in her late 40s at the time. I told David it might be better for her to live freely on her own. He apparently took that as a refusal. We ended up living together anyway.
I heard from my son that you didn't want to live with me.
No, it's not like that. Don't bother explaining. I never liked you from the start. Let's just not interfere with each other. It seemed David had talked to his mother, and she had been avoiding me since we started living together. I made a mistake marrying you. I should have married Emily from the beginning. Then I wouldn't have to deal with all this hassle.
What did you say?
That's right. So far, you don't have a single thing over Emily. And a wife who can't have children for 5 years. In the old days, you would have been sent back to your parents' home immediately. David bluntly said those words to me. Hearing that, I snapped and presented him with the divorce papers I had prepared.
If that's how you feel, let's get divorced. I see no point in staying with you after being told such things.
I had actually been aware of his affair for some time. David said, "What, you had it ready? If you wanted to divorce, you should have just shown me this paper from the start. Don't beat around the bush, saying I cheated and all. You knew, right? And yet you do this. Were you expecting me to beg and hesitate to show it? I will never do such a thing. If you want to divorce, I'll sign this divorce paper right now." Without any hesitation, he signed the divorce paper. "Just make sure you submit this to the courthouse without delay this time." I did as he said and submitted the divorce papers to the courthouse the next day. After the divorce, I had to move out of the house. But as I was preparing to leave, my mother-in-law said to me, "Oh, you're still here? Didn't you divorce my son? Maybe you're waiting for him to beg you not to leave? It's useless. He doesn't care about you anymore. Just leave already." While packing, my ex-husband joined in. "Yeah, this place isn't your home anymore. Just leave. Seriously, giving up over one affair? You were never a great wife," his mother added.
You're right, Mom. But Emily is different. I have high hopes for the next time. Yes, the next wife will be a kind nurse who cares about me. I'm glad you divorced her.
My mother-in-law approved of her son's affair and belittled me. "Yes, I'm glad I got divorced too," I responded.
What did you say? Don't worry, I'll be gone today. The movers will be here soon, so please bear with it for a little longer. You.
As we were talking, the moving company arrived, saying, "Excuse us, we're the movers." They started taking out my belongings. This is refreshing, said my mother-in-law.
We should have done this earlier.
My ex-husband muttered. They were unaware of the big misunderstanding they were about to realize.
Wait a minute. Why are you taking the sofa too? That's ours. She shouldn't be taking it, leave it here.
No, this item was specifically requested by our client, so we need to move it.
What? Wait, what? This is serious, Mom. They're even taking the fridge and washing machine. What's going on? Why are they removing them? I have no idea either.
Unbeknownst to them, my furniture and appliances were being moved out, and the house quickly became empty. And finally, as a parting word, I said, well, thank you for everything. After saying that to them, I got into my personal car, which was parked in front of the apartment, and drove away.
What just happened?
My ex-husband was stunned.
What are you thinking?
What do you mean?
I'm moving out because we divorced, right?
You told me to leave.
It's not about that. I'm asking why you're taking furniture and appliances that aren't yours, even the car. Are you taking these as some sort of compensation instead of alimony?
No, that's not it at all.
Then, why on earth are you doing this?
I explained to the panicking couple. Those furniture and appliances, and this car, were all mine before we got married. It's only natural I take them.
What?
Indeed, I had bought most of the furniture, appliances, and the car when I was single. It was my car. Bought with money I saved while working hard before marriage.
You never mentioned that to me.
That's right. He told me not to tell his mother, so I acted as if he had bought them all this time. The house, the appliances, even the car, it seems he didn't want her to know that it was actually his wife, me, who bought them. Maybe he wanted to show off to his mother, pretending he bought everything.
David, is that true? You said you bought everything. Well, that's... Why would you lie about something like that?
Well, that's how it is, so I'm taking everything that's mine. If you need something, you should buy it yourselves. Then, the husband, who had been silent until now, suddenly remembered something and said,
Wait. What about the division of property? What? When a couple divorces, they're supposed to divide their property, right? That means we should split the furniture, appliances, and even the car. You can't just take them all by yourself.
Is that so? Then this woman's claims are ridiculous. We need to tell the movers to bring back the furniture and appliances right now. There's no need for that.
Why not?
Do you know what marital property is? It refers to property formed by the cooperation of the couple. That means furniture, appliances, and cars that I bought with my own money before marriage are not subject to division.
That's a lie.
If you don't believe me, why don't you look it up on that smartphone you're holding so dearly? The husband must have found it hard to believe my words. He immediately started searching on his smartphone about the division of property. However, what he found was exactly as I had said. The two of them stood there, unable to say anything. Besides, didn't we agree before getting married not to divide property in case of divorce? Don't you remember the marital property agreement?
What?
It was you who suggested a marital property agreement because you didn't want any trouble at the time of divorce.
That's...
Before the marriage. Thinking about divorce before getting married. It's just a precaution. It's like insurance, right? You prepare in advance so you're not in trouble when you get sick or injured. It's the same thing. Convinced by his words, we registered a marital property agreement at the Legal Affairs Bureau. I later found out that marital property agreements are often made by people with considerable assets or those who are remarrying with children. At that time, you had a better job, so you wanted to make the contract because you didn't want me to take any of your earnings. Well, now the tables have turned, and I earn more. But it worked out for me. Thanks to you insisting on a marital property contract, I didn't lose any of my assets in the divorce. Thanks for that. Hearing this, his mother, who had been listening, turned pale and asked me,
Wait a minute. The tables have turned? You earn more? Why do you keep implying that my son has no money? He got a job at a major company.
Oh, he quit just before we got married.
What?
He said something about not liking his boss, but the truth is he caused a major loss at his workplace and got fired.
What are you saying? It's not that, Mom. Let me explain.
Then, through my connections, I got him a job at the factory of the large company where I work.
So, since I work at the headquarters, I earn more. You mean the furniture and appliances too?
Yes.
He had to pay for the damages he caused, so all his earnings were taken. He couldn't afford to frequently replace furniture or appliances.
As expected, he started trembling with rage and said,
"You've been mocking me all this time. I won't accept this."
"What?"
"I won't accept this. I'll go to the courthouse, the tax office, anywhere. I'll change that absurd contract right now."
"It's not the city hall or the tax office, but the Legal Affairs Bureau. And even if you go there, you can't change the contract."
"That can't be true."
"Don't you remember? They told us at the time that once the contract is made, it can't be changed for any reason. Are you sure you want to proceed with this?"
"What?"
"So no matter how much you cry or scream, this fact won't change."
"Once it's decided, it can't be changed? That's fraud. You probably weren't properly informed."
"If you think it's fraud, why not consult the Legal Affairs Bureau? But I doubt they'll overturn it." The two of them were distraught at my words. Then, I added one more thing. "Oh, by the way, I've already canceled the lease here, so you need to move out in a few days." His mother was shocked.
"What are you talking about? This apartment was rented by my son for the two of you."
"No, that's also a lie. This apartment was contracted by me when I was single. The plan was to pool our money and move into a new house together. But after he lost his job, he canceled his own apartment and moved into this one that I had rented. That's how it went on until today, living here with his mother, who knew nothing."
"Was this also something you were told to keep secret?"
"Yes. He seemed to want to protect his pride that much."
"Why didn't you tell me such important things?" "Well, because that's no excuse."
As their lies unraveled, the two of them started arguing. While they were busy with that, I said, "Well, that's how it is. Please take care of everything from now on. Thank you for everything up to this point," and then I started the car and drove off. In the rearview mirror, I saw them trying to say something to me, but it was no longer my concern. However, the story didn't end there. A few hours after I left the house. "Help me, please." I got a call from him.
"This is serious. I never imagined it would come to this."
He sounded very panicked. But I knew why he was calling me. "What? Did you find out she's not really a nurse but a feeder? Or did she abandon you after discovering the lies you told?"
"How do you know that?"
"When a husband cheats and leads to divorce, it's natural to investigate the other party. And it was surprisingly easy to find out she had been lying to you."
"What?"
The real reason he contacted me was this.
"It's fine. We have Emily. We can just move in with her, even if it's sooner than planned. She's a nurse, so she can take care of us both. And she wanted to get married soon, so it must work out. Yeah, maybe we should contact her." "Hello? It's me. I know it's sudden, but can we come over?" "What's wrong?" "Got into a bit of trouble with my ex-wife." "What?" "So we need to leave our house. It's just me and my mom. We can come over, right?"
After losing everything to me and having nowhere to go, they quickly contacted his affair partner.
"What? That's impossible. But you're a nurse, living in a nice place. You have extra rooms, right? So we can stay there. I should tell you now, I'm not a nurse, just a feeder. My place is just a studio apartment, not big enough for 2 more people." "What? You lied to me? Why?" "I thought I had to lie to catch the attention of a guy working at a major company. You wouldn't have cared about me. But still. So, that's why you two can't stay at my place. You have a job at a big company, so you should be able to afford a hotel or rent a new place, right? I mean, I get it if a divorced wife has to leave, but why do you have to leave your house? That's weird. If you're going to blame me, at least start by explaining that."
Then he had no choice but to reveal everything, that he worked at a factory of a large company, that all the furniture, appliances, and even the car were his ex-wife's and were taken by her, and that they had to leave because the apartment was leased by his ex-wife and she had cancelled it. She was furious when she heard this.
"You're accusing me of lying? You're the one who's been deceiving all along. Just calm down a bit." "How can I be calm? Our relationship is over, so if you need someone's help, ask someone else. Goodbye." "Wait, Emily."
After that, she was unreachable. Left with no one else to turn to, he called me for help.
Please, Sarah, can we start over? It was all my fault. I'll take the lead in household chores from now on. I'll listen to everything you say. So, please come back to me. And it's not just me, it's my mom too. If we don't find a place, we'll be.
He and his mother were desperately trying to turn the situation around. His mother, standing behind him, also joined in, saying, Sarah, I'm truly sorry for everything. I didn't realize how important you were. I'll apologize too, so let's live together again, the three of us, okay? I'll even help out with some housework. Don't hold a grudge forever, just accept our apologies. They tried to persuade me like that. However, my feelings remained unchanged.
Live together? What are you talking about? I'm not related to you anymore. Who would go back to you? What did you say, Sarah? Didn't you hear me? I'll say it as many times as it takes. I'm never coming back to you. This is the result of your own decisions. You can't disrespect me just because things didn't turn out how you wanted.
In response, he blustered, so, getting cocky because I'm being humble, huh? Where are you? Tell me where you are, I'll come to you. He must have been very upset to be so clearly rejected by me. He shouted at me in anger. But once again, I was one step ahead.
You'll come if I tell you where I am? Yes, I'll come right now. Then I'll make you apologize. Say that everything you did and said was wrong. Beg me to take you back, even though you're such a failure.
Oh really? Then come right now. I'm at my parents' house.
What? Your parents' house?
Yes, but you're coming, right?
Well.
What's wrong? Lost your nerve? Weren't you going to make me apologize? My whole family is waiting, so hurry up. The truth is, he's always been terrified of my father. A strict police officer. Who despises wrongdoing and lack of common sense. Contrary to my father's serious demeanor, he always lived carelessly and irresponsibly. After we decided to get married and he met my parents, he kept saying, your dad is scary, isn't he? Not really. I feel like if I ever cheated, I'd be risking my life. Well, you better hope that never happens. He said this repeatedly after we finished our greeting with my parents. So, when he heard I was at my parents' house, he must have been petrified.
No, I think I'll skip coming over directly. I don't want to intrude suddenly.
It's not an intrusion at all.
We've already discussed everything, and he probably wants to hear your side of the story too. What? You've already talked about it?
Of course. It's natural for parents to ask why their daughters suddenly came back home. So, I told them everything. Now, what will you do? Are you coming or not?
No.
But it was too late.
You said you'd come, so come over right now. We'll have a long talk then. Father-in-law?
My father, who had been listening to the conversation, snatched the phone from me and shouted at him. Now he had no choice but to come to our house. If he didn't, he'd face worse consequences. About 30 minutes after the call, he arrived at our house with a pale face, along with his mother.
I know she's told you a lot, but there are circumstances. Circumstances? I didn't cheat because I wanted to. Sarah works at the headquarters, and honestly, she earns more than me. I was always ridiculed at work for that. When I got home, she would say harsh things to me, and that's how I ended up with another woman.
He tried to justify himself to my father, claiming he wasn't at fault. His mother added, I lived with them and saw their interactions. Sarah's behavior seemed problematic. Of course, my son is wrong for cheating, but Sarah also contributed to the situation. Can we consider it a fault on both sides?
What are you saying?
My father, who had been quietly listening, then said.
So, where in this story is my daughter at fault? Well, her harsh words made me. Let's change the question. What exactly did she say to you? Like, help with the housework instead of sleeping, or why don't you take out the trash? It felt like she was implying I was lazy. Are you serious? You think that's harsh? Are you a middle school kid? Or are you just joking? What? In taking my daughter's words of caution as sarcasm, it shows you felt inferior compared to your wife who earned more. That's not my daughter's fault, and it's certainly no excuse for cheating.
David gasped in shock.
Let's calm down a bit. Calm down. You must be joking. We trusted your worthless son and sent our precious daughter to marry him. Then he cheats and kicks her out of the house. And now, after being dumped by his affair partner, he wants to turn the tables and come back? This is ridiculous. I don't know why you two even came here, but we have no intention of forgiving you.
My father was furious, his face red with anger. My mother, silent, radiated her own fury. Seeing my parents' reaction, he apologized, saying, "I'm truly sorry." However, like my father, I had no intention of accepting such a superficial apology. I presented him with the alimony demand documents prepared by my lawyer.
Alimony claim? What, did you think you wouldn't have to pay? As a married man who cheated, it's only natural you pay alimony. Seriously?
He was shocked by the amount. Despite initially trying to negotiate a lower sum, he reluctantly agreed to the payment under the influence of my father's stern demeanor. Afterward, I also sent a formal demand for alimony to his affair partner. However, she refused to pay, claiming I was deceived too. I thought he worked for a large corporation. Since I was tricked, I'm a victim and shouldn't have to pay alimony. Of course, such excuses didn't hold, and eventually, both of them had to pay the alimony as I had demanded. Have they been paying the alimony properly since then?
Yes, they paid more promptly than expected, probably intimidated by Dad's shouting.
That's good. But who would have thought it would come to this?
I never imagined such an ending when I got married. Hopefully, this experience taught them a lesson. But what will they do now? You mentioned they were kicked out of the apartment you had leased?
Yes, I heard they had nowhere to go and tried staying with distant relatives. However, when they approached their distant relatives, the reception was far from welcoming. What are you two doing here? We can't say much, but there are circumstances. Could we stay here for a bit? Relatives should help each other in times of need, right? To this, the relatives responded, "Help each other? After all the trouble you've caused us, you have the nerve to ask that?" It turned out that these two had previously insulted their relatives and engaged in selfish behavior, leading to severed ties. Despite this history, they had the audacity to show up and ask for help. Unsurprisingly, the relatives refused to accommodate them and turned them away. According to rumors I heard, the two of them managed to find and rent a shabby apartment to live in together. However, their life there was far from harmonious. This miserable life is all your fault, Mom. Why are you blaming me? It's because you hated her and mistreated her as a daughter-in-law, that's why she left. Don't put this on me. You're the one who got deceived by your affair partner. You're the real culprit here. They continued to blame each other, their relationship deteriorating further. As for me, I rented a new place and am now enjoying a serene and independent life. It may not be the life I had envisioned, but I am very satisfied with how things turned out for me in the end.